game. Like, she wasn't telling people that shit. Exactly why car here. Yeah, he didn't choose this. Cause given the choice, wouldn't nobody go along with this shit? Like, you gonna take away from me so you can act like you selfish as fuck. You know what? But Miranda forced it. Yep, and that's when you gotta find the line. Like, you can't force shit like that on people. Because when it comes down to it, Miranda, you're not the only person on this planet. The Spanish flu affected so many other people than you. You know what I'm saying? Like hundreds of thousands, maybe even possibly millions. Because I'm a little tipsy. Plus, I don't know the exact number of people that was alive back then when the Spanish flu was happening. But like that shit wasn't just happening to you, Miranda. Like, that's incredibly selfish as fuck. Yeah, she's very selfish, very selfish. And once again, I kind of understand that as well. But you got to regulate yourself. Like, you can't let yourself become a slave to you. That's what happens when you become a slave to grief and regret. Like, you end up doing shit along the lines of what Miranda did. Like, it gets to the point where you like fuck everybody and everything else. I want this, and I'm gonna have this, and I don't give a fuck who I gotta destroy in order to have it. God damn. Well, I finished this. Next thing I think I'm gonna end up doing. Well, I'm definitely streaming the Mass Effect trilogy. That's like a no brainer. That's happening. And there's no question on that because that's another one of the games that I love, 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 love. I'm probably gonna stream that tomorrow. She walked into a cave because the grief of her losing her child was so much she wanted to die alone in the cave. Yeah, like, and I once again I can when I do have courage enough to entertain those thoughts, like I can understand that anything happened to the twinkle in my eye, like I can totally understand and get along with the idea, like what the fuck is the point of life now, like especially if you had a bunch of other personal shit that you done been through. I can understand, like, what the fuck is the point of life now, like fuck it. I hate to laugh, but it's like I understand. That's why I say, like, this is so good because you understand both sides, and that's what makes good villains and heroes. Because it's not like black and white; it's shades of gray. Because that's what fucking life is, and I dig that. I dig it so hard. I dig it so hard. Because oh man, forbid on everything on earth. If anything, like I couldn't entertaining the thought is scary enough. Like, oh man, something happening. Is like, okay, well, I'm done here. There's obviously nothing else here for me because I can't seem to have shit. Miranda must. Okay, wait. She walked into. Yeah. All right. Miranda must have had a messed up life. Then losing her child was her breaking point. Exactly. Because we all know, like, she was born. Let me see. It's not hard to, because we don't know exactly when, because she could have been going through the Spanish flu at the beginning of when it happened or the middle or the end. We don't exactly know, but I'm still going to look up. I want to know when the Spanish flu like first hit, because I know it was like a long time ago, and back then it was like super effed up because the world wasn't complete. It wasn't as civilized, obviously, as it is today. If you want, I'm using civilized for lack of a better term because I still don't consider a lot of the shit we do civilized. But anyway, the world was so much more uncivilized than it is now. And her life was probably like really, really, really shitty. And I can even be like, I'm not a feminist or nothing like that because I feel like it's unnecessary. But I feel like, yeah, back then for women, like it was probably a little extra. It was more than likely a little extra fucked up, especially if you was like a poor woman in a shitty area or family. You was probably getting, like, men got dumped on, but you was probably getting dumped on by the men that was getting dumped on. So it was like a trickle down effect of shittiness. But let me see, Spanish flu. Okay, so the start of the Spanish flu was the Spanish flu, also known as the 1918 influenza pandemic, was unusually deadly influenza caused by H1N1 influenza A virus lasting from February 1918 to April 1920. It affected 500 million people. Yeah, yeah. That was a super shitty time to be alive. That was a super shitty time to be alive. That makes me understand Miranda just a little bit more now. That was and her thought process and why she went about things how she did. Yeah, Jesus, exactly. Like that was a super shitty time. I just Googled that shit, bro. I just Googled that shit. 500 million people, about a third of the world's population at a time, in 4 successive waves. Miranda went the shit. Yep. Cause we think the corona is hard, and the corona is fucked up. I'm not trying to downplay that, but at least we stay in a time where we have advanced sciences and medicines and you know, research and shit we can do to counter it. You know, we got a virus. I mean, not a virus. We got a vaccine now going around and trying to do numbers and make the world, make health better. Back in 1918, they didn't have that at all. That was not a thing. Luck was your thing. Luck was your thing. If you caught it and you didn't die, you was a lucky motherfucker. And you probably had all kinds of residual health problems after you caught that shit. Yeah, you were fucked back then if you caught a bad cold. So I know 500 million. I didn't even realize, and it's hard. Like, it's not hard. It's sometimes sometimes we forget. I know I forget. I didn't even think it was that many people back then. 500 million people. 500 million people. I don't even think they had penicillin back then. We discovered penicillin on accident. So I don't even think we had penicillin back then. Okay, that was when medical science, as far as we know, was, if not in its infancy, in its incubation stages. Hey, damn. You fuck back then. Hey, you sick. Damn time for you to be locked up in the gallows because you're not about to offend anyone else. Yep. You about to be locked up and isolated in the gallows or in the gulag because your sick ass ain't about to infect the rest of the populace because we got to get this province going. Damn, that is crazy. So Miranda had to be, if she wasn't born sometime before 1918, if she wasn't around, if she didn't go through what she went through, it had to be at least between the beginning and the end, not the beginning, the middle and the end of the Spanish flu, because it said it has 4 successive waves of the Spanish flu. Or the H1N1 H1N1 influenza back then. So it had 4 successive waves. So Miranda, if I'm doing my kind of drunk math right now, which is not going to be accurate possibly at all. I'll be surprised if it is. But if she's over 100 years old, so I'm guesstimating right now that she had to go through her shit between maybe the earliest would be the second wave, but I want to say between the third and the fourth wave of the Spanish flu, cause you know what I'm saying, she don't mention it too much more after that. Maybe she was deep into her experimentations, or maybe that was the period where she was understanding her powers, or what was there, completely trying to understand everything that was going on to her with her, and getting her knowledge with the mold and shit, the shit that she discovered and got infected by. But yeah, I want to say that like maybe between the third to fourth wave, because it went on from 1918 to 1920. So they had like 4 waves in like 2 or 3 years, give or take some months. Damn, that is effed up. Mm, 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 mm. Yeah, crazy as hell. But anyway, this is a damn good game. Yeah, she lived for so long, and that's another point. That's another point. She lived for so long, because I've had this discussion with other people that are a little bit smarter than me, or at least come from a different perspective. You live for so long, it's hard to not become, like, in a way, jaded, if you understand my meaning. Like, it becomes harder and harder to really give a fuck about strangers or people that you don't know or don't have any affiliation with the longer you live. It's kind of like what Omni-Man from Invincible was talking about. Like, you're gonna live for thousands of years possibly, and everybody that you know or interact with is gonna die, and you know that for a fact because they're not what you are, so they're gonna die within like a fraction of what you're gonna be living. So how do you how do you really give a fuck about that? It's like us with flies. Flies live a fraction of our lifespan as human beings. We don't give a fuck about a fly. You can't tell. A person cannot honestly tell me they give a fuck about a fly in their house. You will kill that bitch. You will. Here's how much you don't give a fuck about it. You will kill it before you let it free. 9 times out of 10, you will kill a fly in your house before you end up letting it free. Because it's an annoyance to you, and its life really means nothing to you because it's so short and finite. Even if you know how short, it's an annoyance. It's a small annoyance to you. So you're gonna kill it before you set it free. It's easy to, well, it's not easy because flies sometimes are fucking stupid. You got like over 150 eyes or so many shit. You can't fly out a goddamn window when I open that shit for you. Gonna keep running into the wall in the upper part, but whatever. Yeah, it's like insignificant. Yeah, see, I killed nasty ass fly without a second thought, and that's how I imagine over the course of 100 years, Miranda kind of looked at it, which is why what allowed her to be able to do the things that she did. Because, like, I lived for 100 years, and you motherfuckers are so finite to me. We're not even a part of the same species anymore. You can't even say it like, well, it's like her killing another human. No, it's not. Because humans don't live for over 100 years. After she got entangled with that mold and the shit, whatever it was, she was no longer a part of the